Hello, and welcome to Simplifying Rational Expressions. All right, to simplify a rational expression, we're going to use 3 steps. First, we're going to factor the numerator and denominator completely, if possible. Then we'll divide out any common factors, and this is the best part, really, of the simplifying. This is where you get to cancel and make it smaller. And then we'll leave it in factored form or multiply remaining factors together. So an example of this, all right? If we are simplifying 3/6, right, that's a rational expression, we will factor completely, and then we can cancel common factors, divide out any common factors, and if anything's remaining that needs to be multiplied together in the numerator or in the denominator, we can do so, or we just have our simplified fraction. So those are our steps: factor, cancel, see what we have left. Here we go. So I'm looking at 40x cubed over 12x, and I know that 40 is 4 times 10, which is 4 times 2 times 5. And this is not factored into prime factors. I'll be honest, I was thinking of 12 has a factor of 4. That's it. I really only care that 40 has a factor of 4 because 12 has a factor of 4. So when I rewrite this, I'm going to write it as 4 times 10 x times x squared, so I factored my x cubed as well, over 4 times 3x. Make that x a little bit bigger. So I can see our 4's are in common. I can see this x is in common. And what remains is 10x squared over 3. Don't let it be any more challenging than that. Even though I'm going to make it look harder, that's what it comes down to. It's just like simplifying 3/6, okay? Here we go. So I want to factor the numerator and denominator completely. Oh, look, they're already factored here for number 2. Cancel any common factors. Has to be in parentheses or multiplied before we can cancel it. And then we see what we have left. Now keep in mind, those a's do not cancel. That's an ugly a in the denominator. But the a's cannot cancel because we can only cancel factors. A plus 7, as soon as there's a plus sign or a minus sign, is no longer a factor. So if we're adding or subtracting, we cannot cancel. We can only cancel if it's multiplication. So it has to be written as multiplication or division, as it turns out, before we can cancel. So you might be tempted to call this 7 over negative 2, but resist that. Resist that temptation. Okay, here we go. Number 3, we have to actually factor this, but we could do that. So let's put h squared plus 6h minus 16. Let's factor that first. To get h squared, we know it's going to be h times h. To multiply to get a negative 16, we'll have 1 positive and 1 negative. Multiply to be 16, opposite sides different by 6. So probably a positive 8 and a negative 2. 8 times 2 is 16, and it'll be negative. And a positive 8 minus 2 is 6. So that one's good. H squared minus 4h plus 4. Ooh, I like 4's. 4's are nice because they go really well with 2's. So to get h squared, we know we're going to have h times h. To multiply to get a positive 4, they're going to be the same sign. And since this 4 is negative, we know that they're both negative. Multiply to be 4, add to be negative 4. That's negative 2 and negative 2. So we've factored the numerator completely. We've factored the denominator completely. Now, we could do the best part. We could cancel. I'm going to take this h minus 2 and cancel it just because they're over top of each other. I could have canceled the first h minus 2. It doesn't matter, but there's only 1 in the numerator. I can only cancel 1 in the denominator. Right? They have to pair up. It has to be a 1-to-1 relationship in that canceling. h plus 8 over h minus 2. I should always circle my answers. There we go. H plus 8. H plus 8 over h minus 2. Wow, that's kind of hard to say sometimes. Okay. Let's take a look at number 4. Now, number 4, it looks like we could cancel out these a plus 2, but, excuse me, a minus 2 is not being multiplied in the numerator, right? It's being added. So is not a factor. Therefore, a minus 2 cannot be canceled. Right? There's no common factor. I can't do that. The only thing I can do to simplify this is rewrite the numerator, a plus 6, and there's nothing I can do other than just leave the denominator factored, or I could multiply it together. I'm one of those quit while you're ahead people. If you could leave the answer in factored form and it's completely acceptable, why am I going to take the risk of multiplying incorrectly or writing something harder in my online homework system? So I'm just going to leave it factored like that. I'm going to simplify and we're done. All right, so be careful. You could only cancel if it's being multiplied. So that a minus 2 does not cancel in this problem. Now, number 5 here is what Bugs Bunny would call the coup de grace, coup de grace. Let's take a look. I'm going to move number 6 down a little bit. Okay. Let's factor this numerator. We have 12x squared minus 19x minus 21. And I want to factor this. So I'm going to multiply 12 times a negative 21. I'm going to pull up my calculator over here. So 12 times a negative 21 is a negative 252. So I want to add to be 252 and I want to multiply to be 252 and add to be a negative 19. Okay, now multiplies to be negative. So I know that my signs are opposite. All right, just like where they were here for the 12 and the 21. Adds to be a negative 19. So I know the bigger one is negative. So I'm going to start here at 12 and negative 21 because they're different by 9, negative 9. So I know that I should go down a little bit in my positive number, right? Because I want my negative to be bigger. So let's try, how about 11? Does 11 go to 252? No. 252 divided by 10 is not good. How about divided by 6, 7? Oh, 252 is divisible by 9. But 9 and negative 28. Oh my goodness, look at that. Negative 19. So if this number is fairly big, the one that has to add together from your resulting factors, if it's fairly big, remember you want your numbers further away from each other. And so the positive one will be smaller than what originally got you there. But really, you could list all the factors if you had to. This could take time. I got super lucky with my guesses, and I'll be completely honest. So now we'll rewrite this as 12x squared plus 9x minus 28x minus 21. All right, and we see here that I've rewritten the minus 19x as plus 9x minus 28x. These first two have a 3x in common. I'm left with a 4x plus 3. Bring down the negative in the middle. 28x and 21 have a 7 in common, but keep in mind we factored out a negative 7 now. Negative 28x divided by a negative 7 is 4x. Negative 21 divided by a negative 7 is positive 3. Now I knew that I really wanted that to be 4x plus 3 because that's what I have here. But notice I didn't just assume it was going to be 4x plus 3. I actually did the division to make sure. Little checks here and there help you make sure that you have your signs correct, all the numbers here and there, just the little details. Correct. All right, so we have 4x plus 3 and 3x minus 7. All right, now we have to factor this beast of a denominator. Let's take a look. I'm going to put it in blue so I can write it right next to it. 15x cubed plus 25x squared minus 140x. My first thought is everything's a multiple of 5 and everything has an x. So let's take that out first. So 15x cubed divided by 5x, that's going to be 3x squared. 25 divided by 5 is 5. Take out an x. 140 divided by 5 will be 28. And we've taken out the x. Now here's a little tip for you. Right? We're trying to cancel. So all we really care about is if something here in blue from the denominator matches exactly with something up here from the numerator in the factor. So when I do this, I'm going to hopefully have a 3x minus 7. What I'm thinking right now is, in order to get 3x squared, I'll have 3x times x. Because the 28 is negative, I know one of these will be negative and one of these will be positive. And so what I'm hoping is, I'm going to put in the factor I really want to be there and see what has to happen, and then I'll check my result. So if this is a 3x minus 7, right, what do I multiply by negative 7 to get a negative 28? That'll be a positive 4. Let's check. 3x squared, 3x times 4 is 12x, minus 7x, so that's my 5, good, and minus 7 times plus 4 is a minus 28. So I'm able to factor this using my, quote, easier one, right, the one that we factored first. I was able to have a good idea as to how to factor my denominator term. Now that they're factored, the 3x minus 7s will cancel out. And we have 4x plus 3 over 5x times x plus 4. And remember, quit while you're ahead mistake. Let's stop right there. You don't have to multiply that denominator together. You don't have to multiply that 5x back through the x plus 4. Just make sure you have parentheses around the x plus 4 so it's multiplied. All right, so that's the majority of what we have here. I'm going to bring this back up and save a page. This one is a quick and dirty. Quick and dirty is what students frequently think of as, oh, that's cheating, but it's not cheating. It's a unique math fact. Here, check this out. If I take 4 minus x and I divide it all by negative 1, or maybe I'll factor out a negative 1, what happens? I'll get a negative 4 and I'll get a plus x. But we don't usually write them in that order, right? We usually write the variable first. How about I do that correctly? Sorry, a little mental fatigue there. That 4 is negative, so let's make sure it's negative over here. So what we could do is factor out a negative 1 to reverse the order of subtraction. All right, so what that tells us now is we have 3 times x minus 4 and negative 1 times x minus 4. Once we reverse that order of subtraction, once we switch that around by factoring out the negative 1, look at that. Now we can cancel, and we're left with 3 over negative 1, which we will always simplify because we are amazing math students. Make that a negative 3. All right, so to simplify rational expressions, you're going to factor the numerator and denominator completely if possible, cancel common factors, and then leave it how you found it. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening.